What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening to the market at 10 o'clock a.m. as we have a lot of data coming out that's going to cause a big move, in my opinion. What I think is going to happen to the charts, what's going on with earnings, and other pieces of news affecting the markets. But before I begin to all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. Deposit $25,000 or more, and you're guaranteed 75 free stocks. This offer ends today. This is the last day for you to sign up. It's about to end in just a couple of hours. Then I'm going to be promoting something completely different. So please check it out. This is going to be your last chance. Anyways, looking at SPY, this thing has a nice accumulation structure that's developing. It is looking bullish. I do anticipate some more upside that's coming. But let's first talk about some data and stuff before I break down the chart. So as a reminder, at 9:45 a.m. today, that's 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI coming out. Then we have a bunch of data coming out at 10 a.m. We have essentially the ISM manufacturing numbers, employment numbers. Then we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment numbers. I want to note that the ISM manufacturing new orders is very important for inflationary data. And the same thing with manufacturing prices. So lots of manufacturing numbers, lots of new orders, which are very, very forward looking. So watch for that data. And we also, we also have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment reports, the 5-year inflationary expectations. And it's very important to understand what people are expecting for inflation. So I'm expecting either a big move approaching the data, or as soon as the data comes out, something very big is going to happen. So watch and see what happens around 9:45 a.m. and 10 a.m. as the market may make some crazy, crazy moves with all this data coming out. Then, as a reminder, everything's going to cool off after that. For the rest of the day, it's just a bunch of Fed speakers. We have Logan, we have Waller, we have Bostic, Daly, all giving their speeches. We'll listen to see what they have to say after 10:15 a.m. and hear all the times for that point on. So with that being said, expect big data for the first 30 minutes of the day and a bunch of Fed speakers after that. For earnings, we just had Plug and Fubo TV. We also have a couple of others. Looking at Fubo TV real quick, they did relatively well, exceeding Q4 guidance, strong subscriber revenue, and also they also ended up seeing a lot of growth in terms of revenue. So we reached about 1.6 million subscribers in North America, a 12% increase year over year. They saw a 29% increase year over year in North America. Lots of net losses being improved, and free cash flow ended up improving as well. They had strong looking guidance, good looking projections, and they beat expectations in terms of earnings. So better than expected. Fubo TV is on fire and it's pumping very, very nicely. Good for them. However, unfortunately, Plug Power was not looking too good. They ended up beating on revenue, but their EPS was a miss. We saw the share price actually sink as a result of that. So you guys can see right here, there's not the best momentum. Their guidance was not the strongest either. And we can see that there's a lot of changes coming out for the share price. So revenue is beaten, but net income has declined overall. We actually saw a slight increase in their total revenue by about 39%, but there's a 23% decrease in their net income. And then on top of this, weak net income, their EPS was down 51%. So that's part of why this ended up dropping, and guidance was not the strongest. That's why Plug ended up seeing some downside. Now, as a reminder, I'm going to talk about this for SPY. We have a 3.35 put to call ratio today, over 900,000 puts, which is going to expire to a million, in my opinion, and about 267,000 calls expiring. So watch for that carefully. What to know for this Friday? Just know that we're marching on. We're seeing a lot of talk about the markets. We're seeing some new things coming out about the New York Community Bank Corp. That's going to be very important for material weakness in the company, internal signals. After many, many weak months for the regional bank, there are a lot of changes. I'll talk about this in more detail later, but basically, Elon Musk is suing OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, claiming he broke a 2015 agreement to develop artificial intelligence broadly for the benefit of humanity. Uh, Besides that, Congress passed a short term funding bill on Thursday, sending it to Joe Biden's desk. This was actually bullish for the markets. This is what's helping the market to some extent, and there's some excitement right over here. There's also a new movie coming out, Dune Part 2. I haven't seen the first one yet, but that's going to be interesting, and we'll see how it does. This is also making some headlines. But that's it for now. That's what I'm seeing on the new headlines. Let's talk about the charts. What do I see for SPY? Honestly, guys, what I think is going to happen is either before the data or after the data comes out, we're going to see this thing test 510. I think SPY is going to come down a little bit and start pushing for 510. And then we're going to be watching to see what it does. Will it reject or not? That's going to be very, very key. So I think we might see something like this where it kind of like pushes up to this 510 resistance, kind of rejects a bit. And we'll see by the end of the day, today, do we break 510 again? We're going to come back to retest it. Do we break past this and then shoot up to 512 for a very strong close, or do we fail to do so? That we'll just have to wait and see. But I do have a feeling we're going to be testing at least 510, and then we'll watch and see what the reaction is. If we break it, we could be pushing for 512. If we fail to break it, we might reject. So we'll see if we're forming a cup and handle. We'll see if this gets to breakout today or by Monday. So I expect 510. We might reject a little bit, then we might try to break it later. If we do fail to break it, then we'll just get stuck here. But if we do break it, 512 could come. Right? For Tesla, and then by the way, those are the resistance levels for support. Watch 508.5, and then we have 507 to 507.5 below that. For Tesla, we're going to be watching this level here. So Tesla's not looking that great right now. It's just kind of shuffling and might try to get dragged by SPY. Watch 202.5 as resistance. If we break this, 205 is going to be our next target. If we lose 200, watch it come down to 198. It's just shuffling right now, so we'll see which way it breaks. It's still kind of stuck. But I do want to warn you, we have a triple top like formation, which tends to lead to bearish outcomes. So Tesla could underperform, especially if we lose 197.5. If we lose 197.5, we're bearish. If we break 205, we're bullish. Otherwise, we're just stuck in this range. So watch Tesla carefully. It's just range trading, and we'll see how it goes. But just know there is a risk of downside because of the triple top on Tesla. With the triple Q, we got this nice break to new all-time highs. Now we're coming back down. It looks to me like if SPY does push up to 410, we could see the QQQ try pushing up to about 441. If that breaks 442, is going to be our next target. We might push as we open to 441 again. Then we'll see if we reject or not again. And then later on at the end of the day, we can get one more push. That's the most likely possibility. Watch support at 438. If we do lose that, then I'll be watching 436.75 and 436. I think that this might push a little bit, reject, and try to push again. There is definitely potential for the QQQ to push higher as it looks quite bullish. What's helping the QQQ is the one and only Nvidia. Nvidia did exactly what we predicted yesterday. We talked about 800 being tested. We're at 800, exactly as predicted. So if we break this, watch 807, 812, and then 820. It could push towards 807, reject a little bit, and slowly try to creep back up. So watch for that. We have to see if we can try to hold above 800. If we lose 800, watch support right over here at 795-ish. Then we have 790 below that. So we'll see if we break 800. It could attempt to break a little higher, so we have a bullish wedge right here. So it could push to 807, come back down, trade sideways, and try to push higher. I do see a potential bullish structure developing, and we'll see if we could break 800 and 807. It is favoring bulls slightly more. Now, Apple's the stock we talked about. It's a little bit weak. As you guys can see, Apple's going to gap down. We're approaching this support right over here. We just hit, we're at 197.5. But watch and see how well we could hold above 178. That's going to be key for this. If we could hold 178, we're going to be fine. We have resistance at 180, then 181.36 and 182.5. We will see if this gaps down and tries to rebound to fill its gap. So there might be a little rebound on Apple if we could see buyers defend it to get back to 181 and 180. But then, excuse me, after that, I think it might just trade sideways. So I'm not really expecting as much. So that being said, Apple is relatively weak. Tesla's not looking the strongest. We're in a range. Within SPY and the QQQ look like they have more upside alongside Nvidia. I also want to note that Supermicro looking pretty good right now. If we could continue to break out, it's going to look good. Watch support at 854. We kind of try to hold above that and 840. If we do hold this and start to, hold support nicely, there is potential for it to get closer to 900. That still exists. And then finally, that's it for now. I do want to call out Microsoft. Where's my Microsoft chart? It's somewhere here. But Microsoft is also going to be very important because even though it is kind of down in the pre-market, there is a possible inverse head and shoulders forming here. So it might get a breakout, might come down a little bit and then eventually break out later. So I'll be eyeing this as well. And then we'll see how it goes, guys. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one in just about an hour and a half. Thanks again, and peace out.